Hola, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary friends. What's good? What's poppin'? My name is Kyan. It's like Ryan with a K, not the spice. If you want to compare it to anything, more like the crystal, I guess. I'm 19 years old. I am from Baltimore, Maryland, but I am currently studying in Savannah, Georgia. And I practice multiple medias of art, which is film, photography, fashion design, as well as music. Yeah, so it's very interesting. I think I've thought about this line for how many? I want to say about 2, maybe 3 years now, because it's what 2024 now. So about 2, 3 years, where at first it just started off with the idea of I love avant-garde work and avant-garde art as a whole when it comes to fashion. I feel that it is a very beautiful way to tell a story in the garment. In 2022, I got this book. It's called All About Love by Bell Hooks. I love this book so much. Literally, my other mother and my sister talk about it all the time, and my aunt. They all talk about it all the time. So I'm like, oh, these are smart people. These are smart women. Let me pick up this book, because the book is written by, again, Bell Hooks, and she talks about what love is and what love looks like to a person, and how a person like may experience love differently. And that's what I wanted to talk about in my line. For example, there's one piece. It is a cat vest from 1940s woven fabric. And for that piece in particular, I made it because I myself love cats. So, yeah, because I know I love cats, I know other people love cats, I wanted to make that vest. There's another one where it is made from a lot of pajama-like material. It has stuffed animals all over it. And that's supposed to symbolize how comforting love can be for a person. It's comfortable, it's soft to others, while to some it may look different, which is why I made that line as a whole surreal appeal, all about love. It's funny, Fearless Caddis. So, two things. One, that was for a film project in my film class last quarter. And literally the project was find anywhere, find any location you want, and just record for like an hour and edit. And I found it at SCAD. There's this, well, not at SCAD, I would say around the corner from SCAD, there's this cat cafe, and I've always wanted to go, so I found this as a great excuse to go. So I went, recorded cats, because again, I love cats. And yeah, I edited it, and for the title, I just looked up the scientific name for cats. Got a pretty good grade. Giridai, it is, the title itself is derived from the work of Dr. Mariam Ba'ani. She was, may she rest in peace. She used to study a lot of just African diaspora as a whole. And because of that, she created a book called Yurugu, which talked about the different mindsets of thinking, where we as Black people have to be warriors in order to combat the Eurocentric society we live in. And she talks about it where Giri So is the basic level of thinking. That's where our oppressors, the colonizers, the Caucasians, the Caucasians, that's where they want to keep us. While there's other levels like Beni So, Bolo So, and then there's Sodai, the highest level of thinking, where we, I guess in a sense, have reached enlightenment, but more of enlightenment from our captors, from our oppressors. And that, so I took the words Giri So and Sodai and put them together to resemble that in the main character Vance, where he doesn't care to learn about his history nor respect it. and because of that, that makes the ancestors vengeful, and their punishment is to take away his melanin and turn him white. And they say the only way you can regain your melanin is if you regain your knowledge and learn the beauty of the African diaspora. When we released it, it was my 17th birthday. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a little frustrating. First time ever directing, first time ever writing a script. It was my first time a lot for when it comes to film, but I know I've been like in love with film even before then. So I think it was a great practice. Photography. Okay.
Do you want to include that in the video?
Sure.
Okay.
I picked up the skill of photography around the same time I started directing Giri Dai. From my uncle, I'm doing a lot of quotes because like all these people, they're not like actually related to me, but that's how close they are to me, that they're like my uncle, they're like my mother, they're like my sister, they're like my aunt, brother, so on and so forth. My Uncle Kyle, hi Uncle Kyle, he does photography for a living, and he always talked about how photography can change and either change, hold, or honor the perspective. You gotta capture that perspective, you gotta capture just the image so it can stay a memory, because human memories, especially now in the year we live in, is becoming so fleeting where if you don't take a picture, it might just be gone forever, while at the same time so many people want to pull out their phones to take pictures, to record, to the point where sometimes the memory holds no value. So he taught the balance between that. And that night specifically, my friend, the woman in the photo, my friend Veda, hi Veda. We didn't really have a plan. We just took clothes from my closet and threw it in the back of her car. And yeah, we would just change clothes in her car, and then we would step out and take pictures. So and with that picture in particular, I took multiple pictures, and I felt like they really captured and honored a moment in time where I know for a fact if we didn't capture it, we would forget. Because she also took pictures. If we didn't capture that in a photo shoot way, we wouldn't remember that, and I feel like that honors and holds dear to our friendship. Yes, the picnics, that's so funny. They were my other sister, quote unquote, Nia. Hi Nia. She is also a photographer and also picked up photography by our Uncle Kyle. And she now runs a successful photography business, Sunshine Photography. Check her out. Nice little plug for you, Nia. Don't say I never did anything for you. And she wanted to do this series where like once a year there might be a different theme, but she brings photographers together, different models together, and yeah, you all take pictures. The models can use it how they want, the photographers can use it how they want, and she called it a Posh Picnic. I've been in love with music for so long. I feel like music brings a lot of people together. Like I know, like people say art, whether it's photography, film, fashion, can bring people together, but films, fashion, and photography, I feel like there's a different language to that when it comes to music. But with music as a whole, sometimes you don't need to understand the lyrics. Sometimes it's just based on vibes. Like I listen to so much French music. I listen to a lot of French music. I listen to a lot of Spanish music. I listen to so much music, and yet I either kinda or have no idea as to what they're saying, because it's the energy, it's the vibe, because that is what brings people together. And that's what I've always loved about music, and that's what I wanted to do with music. And with Shigo, it's funny, it basically took me 2 years to make that song, because I'm a poet, I do poetry, and one of my friends, they were like, oh Kyan, your poetry's so good, have you ever thought about making a song? And like I like music, and like in my head I often think about like having concerts and all of that, like I guess what normal people like tend to do whenever they listen to music, but like I never like saw myself making music until that same friend took me to their studio and was like, oh, let me make you a beat, because it was around the time of my it was around my 17th birthday as well, where he made me a beat, and I really liked it, and I wrote to it, but I didn't record that song yet. That's a whole different thing. For Shigo, because of that moment, that's when I started writing like Shigo, and that's when the chorus like popped in my head, and it took me a while to figure out the rest. But I told that friend, and he was like, "Oh, what vibe or energy do you want to go for the song?" And I told him, what song was it? It was Dracula by Kenny Mason, Ripstick by 99 Neighbors, and Okra by Tyler the Creator. And yeah, so I tried writing for that, and originally the concept for Shigo was at the time of writing like snips, like bits and pieces of that song, because it's taken me a couple years, so certain bits and pieces are about different things. It mainly talked about the person's ego and how we let it do all the talking, when sometimes we need to let our ego sit back and, you know, just vibe out to go through the situation. But then, since this was my first time ever like making a song, we were in the studio, and I was like, not gonna hold you, dog. I have no idea what I'm doing. And he was like, oh no, it's good. Let's just like, you know, like make it fun, like make jokes a little bit. So like, yeah, so the lyrics changed a little bit because like I had no idea what I'm doing. I had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, the song, it isn't out yet, but it will be coming out in either January or February of 2024. So keep on the lookout for that. But yes, that song has given me more confidence to write another song that I will hopefully be recording in March. And yeah, that's that with my music. So for art as a whole, I would want to say I've been an artist since a child. I think everybody is an artist as a child, because people allow you to build whatever, people allow you to draw whatever, people like allow you to express yourself. But for me, unlike some people, I feel like it carried out for a longer time because of my like confidence in it, I guess, because I wasn't confident in my reading or writing or anything like educational, quote unquote, because I am dyslexic, dyscalculic, and apparently dysgraphic. So school was never necessarily made for me. So I always leaned into art more. But I found like my specific passion for each at different ages. It's so funny. I remember finding my passion in film. It was June of 2007. I was 3, and that is when the live action Transformers came out, and that's when the live action Transformers came out, and I don't know, little kid me was like, I can do that, watch me. And then like my parents got me this like toy camera that was actually a camera, but you know, it was like child proof, I guess, I don't know. And like I would use my toys, whether it's dinosaurs, Transformers, and make movies from that. But then like I stopped for a long time, until I met this amazing person. Her name is Nia June, and she is a poet, dancer, director, educator, so on and so forth. Hi Nia June, hi Miss Nia. And Miss Christmas, my other mother, because if I never met Miss Christmas, I wouldn't have met Miss Nia. Miss Nia, she was working on a film called The Unveiling of God, A Love Letter to My Forefathers. And like, I didn't act in it or anything like that, but she showed me and a few other people like snippets of the film before trailers were out, before like music was done, before like color grading was, like before a lot of things were done. She showed us snippets and like how it's going. I met a poet named Nate and Kirby Griffin, the cinematographer and producer of the film as well, and they're great people. I love their work. And then I was invited to the premiere of that film, and it was a beautiful film. And that film, as well as other people like Nia June, so like, again, Miss Christmas, Miss Sharena Christmas, Jossie Mitchell, those people, the people around me, very much inspired me, which is why Miss Christmas gave me the opportunity to write the script and direct for Giri Dai. And Nia June, she even helped me like write the script a little bit as well. Fashion, I remember it was either sixth grade. It was 6th or 7th grade. I was scrolling on YouTube, and then I watched this video of this guy bleaching a hoodie. It was like a hoodie or a sweater, and I was like, oh, I can do that too. Watch me. And I asked my parents if I could get like a sweater that I could bleach, so they got me like the cheapest one from Walmart. Bleached it, took it to school, like wore it maybe like a week later, and everybody said like, oh, that's so cool, that's really cool that you did that, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, thank you. The next piece was a jacket that I literally took a knife and scissors to and like just kind of like stabbed to create holes, and people were like, oh, that's so cool, I love it, blah blah blah, like gassing me up. So I'm like, oh my god, can I actually do this? Then that's when I got interested in sewing, because I was like, oh, I want to add things to these. My grandmother, she knows how to sew, so she taught me how to sew with a sewing machine. I went to sewing classes. In high school, I went to Baltimore Design School for fashion design. And for music, I kind of already told that story, I believe. I feel like it depends. For my photography, fashion, and film, I tend to want to be in a quote-unquote Afro-surreal place of art, where like, if you look at my photography, if you look at my film, if you look at my fashion, you will see that it's like Black people. I even take inspiration from other Black artists, because we as Black people tend to go through very strange, abstract things that other people can't relate to, sometimes can't even comprehend. So I think telling that story or capturing that image or showing that in a garment is very interesting. Avant-garde, like I said with my fashion, I would say Afro-surrealism is very avant-garde, and I feel like it's a very interesting way to tell a story of Black people and just the African diaspora as a whole. But with music, you could say the same thing, because the music industry is very much filled by Black people in the African diaspora. A lot of genres of music that we listen to now actually derives from a lot of like things from the African diaspora and a lot of Black people. So whether it's jazz, rock, hip hop, country, electronic, house, etc., it usually not even usually, it most definitely derives from Black people. But at the same time, for me, music is all about the energy and vibe of what it gives off, and I just kind of want to give off my energy and vibe to other people. I mean, there's a lot of things that I want to do, where like I want to make a magazine, I want to make another short film, I think I just I feel like it depends. Like where I am right now, it depends for each thing. Like for music, a dream I have currently for music is to perform at the Love Groove Festival, which is a festival in Baltimore, ran by John Tyler. Hi John, I love you. So that's my current like dream for music. Once I reach that dream, you know, I guess make an EP or album. For my films, photography, and fashion, there's a lot of things I want to do, whether it's a short film, TV show, magazine, like I said. But I would say my biggest dream for like all of that is to like have a space for it where like I can, whether it's a warehouse that people can go and experience the art, whether it's like a boutique and see not only my art as a black man, but also see other people's art, whether they are like a part of the African diaspora or a person of color. I think it would just be amazing to have a space where people of color as a whole can have their art either purchased, viewed by other people of color, so they're just not like, oh, there's not really a lot of us, there's so many of us. And I kind of just want to give that. I guess that's my dream right now, but who knows, it could change the moment I put my head down on my pillow. But as of now, that's been my dream for about, I want to say, for about a solid year. That's such a good word. Magnum opus. Magnum opus. For magnum opus, I think it also somewhat depends. Where like for film, I would want, there's been this film there's a couple of films that I've been dying to make that I've like basically written scripts out for, and I've just been like dying to make them. One is called God Isn't Human, and that would talk about just like people's relationship with religion as a whole, and what religion means, and how different each religion is, and how all religions are probably wrong, or how they're probably right. And what does that mean for us as people? Like, should we want to be in a religion that's kind of cultish? Because religions, to me, are very cult-like. Do we want to stay in a cult? Do we want to be free or enlightened, as the Buddha says? And then there's Villain's Theme. And Villain's Theme, I want it to be about, long story short, that good people can do very bad things, whether if it's out of selfishness, out of love, out of malice, out of truth, whatever. My stomach gargled. For music, I don't know, because again, I do a lot of things for fun. Music is the one that's most definitely for fun. I feel like my magnum opus for that is like kind of on the nose and very stereotypical, where like if I'm like at a show performing and like everybody knows the words to the song, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did that, I did this, I did that, that's crazy, oh wow, shout out to my mom, shout out to my dad, couldn't have done it without them, for real, I wouldn't be here without them, for real, shout out to Miss Robin, shout out to Miss Chris, like all of that. For photography, I don't know, I feel like photography also plays in film, because I think I want to incorporate my photography in film, and I would most definitely incorporate fashion in film, and as well as music. Whereas like if it's like me performing, me in a music video, me in an interview, maybe not just interview, I don't know, but I would at least look good. Maybe I wouldn't look fly, I wouldn't look like, ooh, he ate that bit, but it's like, he looks good. I like how he put his fit together, I like how he put himself together. So yeah, I guess that's my magnum opus. So for that, I don't know, I find it very interesting, because when you asked that, it took me a while to like come up with this answer not to come up with this answer, but it took me a while because I was just thinking about like how many Black people have come about through both present day and also just throughout history as artists, where one of two things happen. One, you know, we become mildly successful, but our work gets overshadowed by a white person as a whole, honestly. Or we create good art, we create good work, it may be political, it may just be what we want it to be, but it won't get recognized until I'm dead. Like, same thing with Jean-Michel Basquiat. His artwork was beautiful, amazing, but people didn't really look at it as such until he died. And that's for a lot of people that look like me. Just in general, our work isn't as appreciated as it should be until we're dead. I will say in modern years, we get more appreciation, thankfully, in all fields, hopefully more. So I like where I am right now. I feel as if I wouldn't be the same artist as I am now if I wasn't born in this year, and if I wasn't able to use other artists that I've listed as inspiration, or have the knowledge and just confidence that I do now if it wasn't for others to try beforehand. Alright, so we're going to start simple and get, I guess, confusing. But the first thing, my Instagram, it is Moon3ar. It's like my middle name, however it is spelled Moon3ar. For my YouTube, it's the same thing, but it's spelled moon and then ear. It usually gets lost somehow, like when you look it up on YouTube. So like if you wanted to see my short film Orpheus Caddis, or like anything else I've done on YouTube, the best way to find it is on my Instagram, because I have a nice little link that you can click that leads to those things.
Okay, so if you could add anything to the painting at Baltimore, what would it be?
What would I want to add to it? I like how it looks already, because like I like that it is just like a point in history, and it shows like how far we've come. It was 2 horses, and I would want to change those horses to look like Sankofa birds, which resemble, like their symbolism of Sankofa bird is past, present, and future. And I would want to add those things because the mural is from the past, and I feel like it can help future artists that are in their present moment trying to figure out who they want to be. I'm hungry.